Hello, crafting buddies. Wilma in the Netherlands here in this late October Sunday, some 23rd or is it 24th? I don't know. I haven't even looked it up. Cold, the Netherlands in Europe, and so we're heading into the darker seasons. Now, I was going to show you something. This is the result. I was inspired by, I've already mentioned this in posts, I was inspired by Artymaze's Andrea Allen. She makes these, she was inspired by a lady who lives in France. And I love this international group of semi-friends who inspire each other. These are specimen booklets. I don't call them specimen cards because they're really booklets. And I want to show you exactly what they're like, but I'm first going to show you what I used. Because this is my interpretation, which looks very much like Andrea Allen's. First, I ready-made, and I'm not going to give you the sizes because I try to get as much out of an A4 sheet of paper, which again is European size. And I use this, this is waste from packaging, this acrylic. This is what I made with my We Are Memory Keepers tab maker, but you can easily make this yourself, cut it out. Don't buy anything you don't really need is my advice. I used some dies. Now I pre-made this in order to do some mass making. I used dies of windows, and as you can see, I've got these nest dies. These are Sizzix or other, I don't remember the name. All these different dies that are in nests. So I used the two after each other, the smaller and the one bigger one, to make these windows. I used foam. You can see the foam here. Children's foam. I already glued it to, I glue it first. Andrea did that later, but I glue it first before I do the die cutting, which makes it easier, so it doesn't move because the foam tends to move. I've got all these different, this one is nice because it's got a double stitch. That was, I don't know the brands because I get them here, there, everywhere, and I don't write it down. So I would not make a good, teacher in that. But I hope to inspire you. So here I've got the things that are, this consists of like 3. This is the length of A4. I think it's 9 centimeters, 9 centimeters, half a centimeter, and 9 centimeters. So you get to 27.5 or something, 7 centimeters, and this is 12, I believe. So you're left with some paper here when you cut the A4 sheet, and the paper here I use to get the right width for this extra one. So I decided to make it really efficient and not throw too much paper away. I never do. So here are the ones that still need doing. So you get some idea. I'll put that away. What else did I use making this? Okay, I used stamps. Now the stamps I use, this one is AliExpress, but most of them are Tim Holtz's. These are costly, I must admit, but they're worth the money because they're just really good. And I'll show you the numbers of the one of this. I think really this stamp set is so good, and the number is, there it is, 396, and it's got all these things that you can use in these vintagey and sometimes parts of stamps, like the word specimen here. Of course, nobody says that you have to use the whole stamp. You just ink that top and you can use that and cut it out. So what I did was, here I go, I stamped some, this is coffee dyed paper. I stamped the coffee dyed paper with all these different stamps and then cut them out and used them in this project. What I also did, if you're a bit digitally proficient, then you can do that. I stamped, these are paper artsy. I think the guy's called, what's his name again? I seem to have this block on names. Anyway, he made these stamps. They're a bit sort of with the word fragile, but they were much too big for this project. So I stamped them. I made it smaller in my I scanned them and then made them smaller in Photoshop, and I've got them very small as well, just cutting them and dividing them on the page, so I make them different sizes. So here I was with, I don't know what this is. Okay, so this stamp set I used, and I'll get this out of the way. And I also used this stamp set for the insects, which you'll see later. This stamp set is 328, CMS 328. That's for the insects, and these are gorgeous. And then I had to wait because I ordered the die. I wasn't going to fussy cut them all. So I treated myself to this die cut set, which goes with the stamps. And it's 663068, and they just cut out, these dies really cut out the ones that you stamped. So that was what I needed. Mind you, I'm not there yet. Here you go. So then I stamped all these insects, ta-da! And I used gel pens, and you can use any kind of color medium really, like pencils, but I especially used these lovely metallic key felt tip markers. They're fantastic. And so sometimes I did what Andrea did. In my case, I used this word always, glossy accents. There it is. I use glossy accents, but that has to dry for overnight. But you can also emboss them, which is what Andrea did. But I didn't emboss them all. Look, I embossed this one. And making the insects, this was so much fun. I think I really enjoyed doing that. I felt like a bit like a god creating my own animal kingdom, insect kingdom, I should say. Let's see if it gets, yeah, it's sharp. I really, really enjoyed doing that. So those were the ingredients, and you see, I'm still busy. And what do I get then? What I get is this booklet. I use this die, a completely different die from Andrea's, because I only had this one. So I had this long die for a text on a card, but I'm using it. I used double, and in between is a little magnet, and in between these two pages is a magnet too. You can feel it. It's a tiny magnet, only 4 mil or something, but it's pretty strong. Look, tick, click. I love it. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, here's the window, and there's the insect. You see it reflects in the light because I'm sitting in my conservatory. And that's one of the stamps I cut out, and I even used, look, I used blue pen and made a bit of a kind of signature, or what's that called? Look, to make it, just to fake the fact that more people have been over this and checked it and maybe gave their consent and chuck, you know. So I used all these different stamps, and just that blue pen, it's pretty simple, but it suggests that this was from a group of biologists that all checked it, and now it goes into the drawer, and I put this tab on so they can be put in the drawer, and you can just look them up. Let's see some others. Here I used some old wallpaper in the background. It's slightly textured, you see. It's like texture paste has been put on. So you can fake that as well. I also sewed around it. Where do I start? Yes, I started here, go down, go to the left, go up. It sounds a bit silly, but go all the way there, go down, and go back up again. So I get my threads at the top, you see? Down, 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 around it, like so. Okay, use this text stamp that was from the mushrooms, Tim Holtz mushrooms. I use the same as Andrea did. So you can see that I'm referring to her video because she really shows you the whole process. The craft paper now looks a bit leathery. I heard some people say in comments. That's because I used my blending tool and put vintage photo on and around it. And somehow it looks like that now. Let's see if I can show you some more. This one. Here I used that AliExpress. This is from AliExpress, this stamp. So I used this one, you see. Oh, oops, upside down. I used it like this on a sheet of paper, and then you get this as if it's been categorized. All this is fake. Even that stamp, you see, I think that's a nice stamp. I lost it, but Andrea uses this as well. It's been used by the post. It's just all the suggestion of age, isn't it? Fragile. What I also thought might be nice, but that makes it a bit more bulky, is put a little pin with a coloured top head through the insect. But I think you see, used to pin them down. I hated the look of that as a child because I thought they'd done that while alive, which it probably didn't. But, you know, somehow I can't do it. I don't know what keeps me. It's my sensitivity, I should think. Rather funny sensitivity. Okay, now I hope I've given you a bit more information of how this came to pass. Look, all those gel pens, and you see all the metallic-y. It's beautiful creating your own insects. And I think they look so much fun. Whoops, close and check. And that's the end of the video, folks. Have a great time crafting. The world in turmoil, and you just retreat into crafting. That's what I do, and just sometimes I can't watch it all. Okay, bye-bye.